Hello everybody, VG Time back again with another deck profile. And as the thumbnail suggests, we're looking at the future Son Gohan leader from the most recent set. So this Son Gohan leader is very popular, kind of a cool casual deck to play. It has topped a couple of events, and I rewarded people that did that, but that was at the very beginning of the format before people really knew what cards did. So I'm pretty sure they caught some people just lacking. So anyway, this guy right here has a lot of really good things going for him. When he swings, you draw a card. Of course, that's always good. But he has two forms of getting to his backside. So the first is an auto where it costs a burst 3. If one of your yellow battle cards with the blocker skill is KO'd, which is an important distinction, it has to be KO'd. It can't be warped or, bounced or anything like that. You get to draw 2, turn it to his backside, and then add cards from your life to your hand until you get down to 6. Then it has an awakening skill. When you're at 4 or less life, you could just draw 1, untap 1, and flip it over. Getting to the backside as quickly as possible is very important because of how good this backside really is. So the first thing is when it attacks, you get to draw a card, and then you get to choose one of your yellow Trunks future cards, and it gets plus 5k in critical for the turn. So it makes your main boss guys a great offensive threat. And then it has a great defensive auto that says that you get to choose one of your yellow Trunks futures, restand it, and give it plus 6k. So if you don't know what the deck is really about, it's about walling up behind this giant Trunks future card, which we'll get into shortly, because it's actually a very cool strategy to do that a lot of decks don't have a main deck way of being able to answer efficiently. All right, so let's get into the boss monsters themselves, and then every other card will kind of make sense. So first, we have 3-drop Trunks Future. That says Trunks to change your future. He has Barrier and Blocker, so you already see why it's good that it gives the ability to withstand these guys. Has Evolve for yellow over a Trunks future. And then it has an activate main where you can pay double yellow if you have 4 more energy to play the 8-drop Trunks future from your hand on top of it. So speaking of which, we have 3 of Trunks Might Born of Hope. This guy right here evolves for 4 over a Trunks future, has all the keywords, double strike, barrier, dual attack, and blocker, and has an amazing activate main once per turn where you get to choose one of your opponent's battle cards and one of their energy, and they don't get to untap until the end of their turn if it's in rest mode. So basically it kind of forces you to attack twice with it, and then you can activate that ability. Attacking twice with it isn't terrible because you get to attack with your leader and make it a 35k double strike dual attack crit that you attack twice with, put a lot of pressure on your opponent, and then lock down 2 of their cards. So now, with that out the way, we're going to talk about the original engine and then talk about the new way I like to actually make it. So the original engine involves you playing one of these Gohans right here, who has an ability that when it's blocked or removed, when it blocks or gets removed from the battle area, you get to play a 1-drop Trunks future from the deck. You prefer to have it die by blocking or activate that skill by blocking because the main Trunks future you want to play is Trunks Warrior Hope. This card's skill is if he sees him die, he gets to play this guy directly from the deck on top of him. But sometimes your opponent isn't bad and they kill him by alternate means, in which case you grab one of these guys. Usually you see most decks, they run like 3 of this guy and stuff like that, but I have other cards to play. This is my backup engine now, no longer the primary one. So you play this guy, you top 3 search, you add a yellow sand to your hand, and then you could just pay yellow to evolve over him with the 3-drop. So, new engine. For the Namekian Boost set, we have 4 copies of Piccolo and 4 copies of this Gohan. And I'm going to go over them right now so you could understand why these guys are so good. So, this Piccolo Unison one is 11K. That is important mathematically. It allows you to, it basically is treated as a 15K defender on a Unison on defense. Auto once per turn, when you activate blocker, you get to add a Unison marker to this card. And then it has a +1 where you get to choose one of your yellow battle cards and restand it at the beginning of your opponent's next turn. That's incredible with this guy because it allows you to attack twice, activate this ability on him, and then he restands and you get 1 more block out of him versus just using the leader ability. Then next up, he has another auto once per turn. Both of those autos are once per turn. That if you activate a Spirit Boost, you get to choose one of your opponent's battle cards with a cost greater than their current energy and negate its skill. So why is that important? Because this guy right here has Spirit Boost. His Spirit Boost ability is to activate main. Actually, is to activate battle, where you get to pay yellow and play this card from your hand. That's really cool with this guy because when they attack with something big and bulky, you get to pay yellow, move a marker, and play him. And then his skill says that if it is your turn, when this card is played from your hand, choose up to one of your opponent's skillless battle cards in rest mode and KO it. So you really want to be doing this on offense. You want to just kind of like play this guy, blank one of their cards with the with the Unison, and then pop that card. Then it has activate main, which is the main way we get this guy out, where we pay yellow, send it to the drop area from the field, and just play this guy directly from the deck. So really, like the removal part of it is cool, but the main reason why we play it is to have a 2 energy way to get this guy out that doesn't require any interaction from our opponent. The power of a Super Saiyan. This card is just great overall. It has the counter attack where you get to just negate an attack, and that's going to come up sometimes. And then it has activate battle that if you have at least 1 untapped yellow energy, you get to draw a card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards or Unison cards, switch it to rest mode. That seems kind of innocuous, but when you play with it, it's amazing. And then another card I love, Furious Awakening. So this is also a counter attack, but instead of negating the attack, it gets to choose one of your Trunks futures. Let me put this so it's not looking crazy. But you get to choose one of your Trunks futures and give it revenge. This is an ability I've been wanting a long time. Ever since they had clarified the rules on how King Vegeta surprise attack works. This is basically a King Vegeta surprise attack for your yellow yellow Trunks that works the way that you originally thought King Vegeta's surprise attack works. So it gives them revenge, and that alone is enough usually to keep your opponent from attacking with battle cards for the rest of the turn. Let's say just lose equity on their board. Then it has the ability as an activate battle to pay yellow. So it's an additional yellow on top of you paying the 1. So you get to pay the 1 plus an additional yellow, so 2, to give one of these guys 15k power, restand it, and to get his skills for the turn. That helps to keep them alive if your opponent is trying to go in on them. You get to make this one, for instance, a 35k and this one a 45k and restand it. So, backup engine. You play yellow, might as well play Ye O Lord Slug engine. If we don't know what they do, this guy draws a card and you can pay yellow send it to the drop area, and play this guy from your hand, or you get to choose one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. This guy, you could pay yellows, discard him from your hand to play this dude from your deck. And then you also have the ability when this guy is in rest mode, assuming you have the Bond 2, which is almost impossible not to have in his deck. If it's in rest mode, your opponent cannot add cards from their deck to their hand unless it's by means of a leader skill. So this shuts off super combos and things like that, which is also very strong. It itself has barrier. So, yeah, it's just a great card overall. And with the ability to have this blocker system up, your opponent can't really run it over that easily. So I just think overall it's a pretty good engine to have. Super combos. 2 Counterblasts on Gohan, 2 Zamasu, Sacred Disbelief. So they both serve similar purposes. The reason for this card I'll talk about in a little bit later. But Zamasu, we all know, for yellow decks, taps their leader card or battle card as a combo effect. This guy, when you play him, you get to choose one of the cards, switch it to rest mode. And then when you have 4 less life and you combo with it, you can either draw a card or choose one of your opponent's battle cards with cost 5. Or one of their with a cost 5 or less and KO it, assuming they have 5 or more cards in rest mode. Utilities. 1 copy of Vegeta Unison of Fury. This is not a finisher. You get to just play this guy, tap down an energy, and then you get to go in with this as well as this with dual attack and dual attack. And your opponent is going to have a hard time dealing with that. Now, probably one of the more important cards to the deck, and it's a card that I don't understand all the hate for, but Vegeta Prideful Transformation. So this card right here, to me, is all gas. It's never bad. So even in situations where your opponent is playing a card with deflect, what's the harm in playing this guy and having a blocker to help you get through whatever dumb card they just played? I just think it's always good. If they're playing one guy and it doesn't have deflect, great. You play this, it comes into play in rest mode. Then you still get the block attack, so you 2 for 1. If they're playing multiple cards, you still get to put multiple in rest mode. Just good overall. When you have your Unison out there on turn 2, you want one of these in hand. You get to then rest a card that there would be normally try to get in on them with. And then when you block with him, you get to give him another marker. So he'll be at 4 markers and way more difficult to deal with than him being just at 3. Part of me wants to put a 4th one in the deck, but I don't really have the room. I might actually cut a card and do that, but I just think it's pretty important. Continuing with utility, Vegeta's striving to be the best. As I mentioned, having the ability to deal with barrier threats is very important. One such situation is if you're playing a mirror match, right? So they swing twice, they lock down a card. Cool. You get to play this, pop their guy, and untap an energy. So it's net 1 energy to deal with their guy or deal with their Lord Slug. Which, again, a lot of decks don't really play main. 2 copies of Great Ape Son Goku Saiyan Instincts. Hand control is becoming a little bit more popular than I would like it to be. So the ability to have something, again, main deck that allows you to get more cards is pretty important to have. And the reason why I talk about the importance of that is because I play a lot of best of 1 format. So you have to have your tech main deck. You don't have the luxury of going to the side and grabbing stuff. So that's why I build my decks the way that I do with so much random tech. It's because that's the format that I'm playing in. Of course, if you're playing best of 3, you can make the deck a little bit more streamlined game 1 and then bring in some of this stuff from the side. So continuing, 1 copy of Swift Retaliation Cooler. The counter that also draws you a bunch of cards. assuming that your situation is set up for it. It's just good to get through that last big push. You play this when you're going in. They try to negate. You play this, you stop it, and you combo in and you win the game. One copy of Poutine. This might be the card I cut because I really want another one of these guys. But when Poutine is on the table, it forces your opponent to play completely different. If they play any card with a skill, you get to choose one of their battle cards. It don't even have to be the card they play. Just choose one of their battle cards and switch it to rest mode. And then, same thing is the case of they activate a counter. So you swing in, they negate an attack. And let's say they had a blocker up, you get to use Poutine to rest their blocker and then go in with another attack. So she's just an amazing card overall. Food Shrouded. So as mentioned, you have to be in turn 4 to play this guy. So you're going to be playing a longer game than normal. Food Shrouded is able to normally just close out the game by itself. And then I know you're asking, VG, what SCR? We play Cell Xeno. Now again, you don't have to play Cell Xeno. Cell Xeno could be a 4th Vegeta Trifo. Cell Xeno could be another Vegeta Unison and Fury. Cell Xeno could be Heroines if you really wanted to. Cell Xeno could be the Omega Shenron SCR. It could be a lot of things, but I like Cell Xeno because I want to be able to win the game at some point. And I want to do it for as little energy as possible. So normally you have your 8-drop out there. He's Living Ghetto Fabulous. And then you have a random 3, whether it be a Lord Slug or Vegeta Prideful or something. You just need another 1-drop. So that's the reason why I run this Counter Blast on Gohan to go along with the Trunkses and the Lord Slugs to guarantee I have like a 1-drop card I could play. You swing twice with that dude. You sack those bodies. Play Cell Xeno on turn 5 normally. You rip 3 cards out their hand, and then you have Wop Wop, and you just win the game. So that is basically the deck. And just place that right there. Take the time out. Pause it here if you want to. Look at the whole list. I'm not claiming it's the best build of the deck, but I have had a lot of fun with it. And hopefully you do too. So that's about it for this. Make sure you check me out on Wednesdays. Around 6:30 is when I start to stream, where I play in the Stage 0 weekly events. So far, I've been doing pretty well. I'm in their, top 8 to 10 on their leaderboard or something like that. So just look out for me on right here on YouTube. You also can check me out on Twitch at the same time. All my socials are down in the description. And I'll catch you then. VG Time, signing out.